In this video, we're going to talk about what you do when your West Coast swing teachers teach things differently. What's up, everyone? It's Brian B.
And Miss Megan.
And in this video, this is our Frustration Friday video, where every Friday we cover a difficult, tricky, frustrating topic of West Coast swing. And this is one that Megan found where?
Scouring the internet, but also going from different competitions or going to different studios to learn things. We've had this question come up a little bit.
Yeah, this crops up at every level. What do I do, Brian B? What do I do when my teachers teach things differently? You're going to encounter this at every level. Typically, in my experience, it happens from beginners until about the intermediate level. And intermediate can be defined by intermediate social dancer. But when you're brand new to where you've been around for a bit and you've got your a good solid finger hold into the dance. So what do we do when teachers teach things differently? Let's cover this from a 10,000-foot view. There are many different methodologies and ways to teach anything, specifically West Coast swing, that are valid. So it is quite possible, and Jacob's shaking his head behind the camera, it's quite possible that your conflicting teachers are both correct. But what the heck do we do about this?
Understanding a good base for your West Coast swing is good. So starting off with a teacher and making sure that they stay in your dance journey throughout would be a good idea.
So I'm going to cut you off for just a second. We would kind of call this like a head coach. So you want to find someone you can relate to that has one of two qualities. Either they are a successful dancer themselves, or even better, they have turned out successful dancers. Because teaching takes a long time, it's a skill to develop, and just because we're good dancers doesn't necessarily mean we're good teachers. So someone who's been in the game for a while that's produced good students, they've learned a lot. Specifically for us, Miss Megan and I have been dancing together for 16 years since you were a teenager, and I learned a ton through her journey where I was the teacher. I am far better. Even though when I was younger, I moved better. Now I might have been a better dancer 15 years ago. I am a better teacher now. It takes time. So you want to find a head coach teacher that either has some dance credentials or better yet has produced some other good dancers. Then they're the head coach, and then you're going to come back to that person. You're going to let that person guide you. So there is a tendency to want to take from lots of different teachers because we're going to figure out the magic pill. We're going to get the best way to say things. In my experience, there's no magic pill. 45,000 hours on the dance floor at this point in my career. I've paid a lot of attention to this. There is no magic pill. That is the long way, is to take from a bunch of different people. If you look at professional athletes, they have what? A head coach. If you look at any team sports, there is a head coach. Now, there's other specific coaches that the head coach can put in place for the players that have an area of expertise. But I think you want to relate back to your head coach. How would someone use their head coach to then reach out to another style teacher?
I know, so a couple of my students, we have a Derby City Swing in January. We have different people, different instructors that come and teach there, and I know that a lot of our students like to go and get a lesson from so-and-so, and then they'll come back to a lesson with one of us and say, this is what we learned, this maybe is not what, like this is what we didn't understand, or you know, this is a really cool pattern, I'd like to lead you in it, and it was fine, like they understood completely. But if they didn't understand it, they can always bring it to us, and a video, hopefully, and we can help them through it.
And also, so another thing that makes that process, and we've had that very specific thing happen at Derby City Swing where it worked really well and didn't work well. If you go to your head coach, the head coach now knows you a little bit, right? Take some time to develop that relationship, tell them what your goals are, and ask, you know, can I take this lesson one-off from this person? And we're going to assume that they're going to be cool with that. But what they'll do is they will then suggest, let's use a dance event where there's a lot of 10, 15 instructors that you could take from. As the head coach, I go, hey, I've been teaching you in this way. This is the path we're on, and I know that these coaches have this similar mindset and path. So then they'll be able to give you on this path that we're on some other different ways to think about it and some other different approaches. Yeah. Rather than, like I said before, there might be another path that's totally valid, but it's going to conflict with the one you're on, right? Famous story about Tiger Woods. If you guys know Tiger Woods, the golfer, early in his career, he's had several different coaches, but each one of them he's worked for several years at a time. So he might work with a coach for 5, 6, 7 years to extract all the information before he's ready to move on to another coach. So if you think about it from a professional athlete standpoint, so finding a head coach, developing a relationship, asking that coach who and where and when and why and how you should work with other coaches. We do this very well. Megan and I have coaches for different parts of our dancing. And then when we recommend those coaches to our students, when the students, to Megan's point, circle back with the information, we already understand the information, the approach of the coach, so it makes us better able to decipher what might have been confusing and might be confusing to you.
We also know your isms, as we might call it. Like you might not, I don't know, step correctly on count 4 of a whip or something, but we know and it works just fine, so we can make it work with the new pattern or something.
Yeah, so it's, again, one-off lessons, and this is where I think we get a lot of this, is people go, so-and-so teaches a whip this way, but if you only took 1 hour of information from them, it's very hard. As a traveling teacher myself, early in my career, I spent a lot of time on the road. It is very, very, very difficult to walk into a one-off lesson, know where you are, know the right thing to say, and then at the end of the hour, we're out, right? Yep. It's much easier when we teach people on a long, ongoing basis to understand their path, understand their learning process, understand what they're good at, what they're not good at, and to work them through the journey.
It's very fun on our end too, because then we get to watch you progress.
Yeah, it's way, way
really fun.
Yep, way better. And then at the point that you need some outside input, staying in the lane. I'll give you another story. It's a little bit off topic, but same thing. I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a number of years. I had a very well-respected coach. He was a little crazy for my liking, but I basically shut up and listened to him. And when I would travel, I would say, hey, Seneca was his name. I would say, hey, Seneca, I'm going to Boston. Who do you recommend? And he'd say, oh, the Florian boys are great, Kenny Florian. And so I would go to a gym and I would say, hey, I'm a Helio Seneca student. They would go, oh, Seneca, I know him very well. And that way my learning was much less scattered, much more in the path that I was already on. Sorry to interrupt, but if you like what you see, please take a second to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the red button in the bottom right of the screen. And when you're done watching the video, head over to westcoastswingonline.com, enter your email, and you'll be part of our exclusive Move of the Week club. Thanks, and we look forward to seeing you on the dance floor soon. So in closing, different teachers can teach things correctly, so there's not one that's wrong. There are some wrong ones. How would you know a wrong teacher? How would you know someone who's not good?
Oh.
If they sound nothing like anyone else.
Yeah.
That's a good,
If it just is far off in left field, probably not the best.
They likely have not found, they're not the only person that found this specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll find there's more similarities amongst the good teachers than there are differences. There's a lot of subtle differences.
There'll be different like foot placings or different handholds maybe.
Preferences.
Yeah, like West Coast Swing is a very opinionated dance. It doesn't have solid techniques other than like rolling through the feet and stuff we found like with connection. But
which is
style-wise has a big range of stuff that people will like doing hip-hop movements or lyrical movements. So they're not all going to match as far as what they like in their own preferences.
And what Megan said something about foot placements, you know, like a particular teacher might use this foot placement. And so if you go to a lesson with them and they say, place your feet here, and then you go back to your other teacher and you go, well, it's different than what you're telling me. The part that you likely missed was the whole setup around that. Mm-hmm. Why do I step in this place? Depending upon my partner, depending upon how I'm going to approach the next thing, depending upon the step coming before it, depending upon the way that I choose to move foot to foot. There's a whole system around that your teacher will understand. So it's not just a matter of foot placement. If you're searching for the magic pill, this is the perfect place to put my foot, and then I'm going to make it to the next level in my Jack and Jill. Doesn't always work that way.
No, I actually have a student that, you know, we'll learn things from other guys in the studio or other teachers in the studio, and he'll come back to me and I say, yes, that is a very valid way of doing it. I don't want you to do it that way because of this. So, yeah,
and you get that opportunity because you saw them before the lesson. You're the head coach. They took this other information. You get to see it afterwards, and you know, because if it's students working within us in the studio, you kind of know what they learned from me, and you go, hey, that's valid. I get where that's coming from, but We're going to put it to the side for
We're
a
not going
minute
to do it yet.
till we get to this position, and then it's best for you. So that is the secret, if you will, to, so there you go. Hopefully that's helpful in sorting out why different teachers teach things different ways. And if you guys have another topic for Frustration Friday you want, drop it in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, head over to West Coast Swing Online. I know some of you haven't. Do it. Enter your email address. You'll get cool stuff. There's free resources there. Lots of fun stuff. So we'll see you guys again on another video.